Carolyn, I think it's 11:01. Shall we call the meeting to order?
Yes, let's do that. I want to call the meeting for Chapter 566 to order. And let's begin with a moment of silence. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of
the United States of America,
and to the republic
for which
indivisible,
the one
and justice for all.
for all. There you go. That's good.
First, I would like to thank Tom Link for organizing our session today. This is the fourth one that we've done with Zoom or web or the new technology. And we have invited many chapter members in North Carolina, as well as our own chapter members at 566 to join us. I don't know how many have, but welcome to all of you. And I hope that you will enjoy our meeting today and that you can also think in terms of doing the virtual meetings. We don't want to stop having meetings because if people get out of the habit, then we're likely to lose more members. And that would be the last thing we need. None of us asked for COVID-19, but we have to try to cope with it, and we're all in it together. And with that, I would like to ask Henry Bradley for his presentation.
Greetings. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I will be with Raleigh on the 4th to have a meeting like this, and Wilmington has had a meeting, and Salisbury has had a meeting, so that's all of interest to having our group together. I want to thank you for voting me as the Federation President effective August 1, and today I'm here to make a presentation. I'm going to just hold this up in front of the camera rather than show you a picture of it, but this is the award that is given to Carolyn as the top recruiter for 2019. And it's in a very nice padded box. That is a box, it's not a cell, for having lived through COVID. But we do want you to give her your appreciation for having won this award for 2 years in a row. In addition to that, I am very pleased to announce that she has accepted the role of Federation Membership Coordinator. And we have an awful lot that we want to accomplish this year. And with her active participation and so many others, I expect that we'll have a good year. I want to thank everyone who's been involved in the health fairs that we've had over the past years. Without them, it's a problem to recruit members. And if you don't have people helping, it doesn't work. We look forward to getting actively involved again next year in face-to-face meetings. I did talk to Kimberly from Blue Cross Blue Shield. I had some cups that I was going to give her, and she indicated on Friday that they do not expect to be back in their building until January, and that they will be participating in any health fairs virtually. So we will be looking into more as to what they're doing so we can tag along, and I look forward to Carolyn's contacts for that. Again, congratulations, Carolyn, for winning this significant trophy 2 years in a row and for accepting the role of Federation Membership Coordinator. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you for all of your help. And congratulations on your being our next president. I
Thank
look
you.
forward to working with you, as do most of as many members as I know. We are very grateful for all that you've already done for us as a chapter and as a federation. And we look forward to 2 more years of working together. Thank you so much for your support. And with that, I would like to ask Mary Vickers to begin our speakers for today, introduction of our speakers for today.
I had a message that said the host is not allowing participants to unmute themselves. So anyway, it cleared, so here I am. I'm actually under my church account. That's why it looks like women's class. But today we have 3 speakers. The first will be Sonia McCarter-Smith. She is a group consultant with Blue Cross Blue Shield. She has been with Blue Cross Blue Shield for more than 19 years. And her background includes extensive knowledge of insurance products, as well as customer service, network management, and sales and service. She joined the Federal Employees Program as a group consultant on August 12th of last year. She is a native of North Carolina and a graduate of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Today, she will speak to us about the benefits and enhancements that Blue Cross has added as a result of COVID-19. I am pleased to introduce to you Ms. Sonia McCarter-Smith.
There you go.
Ooh,
Welcome.
you did something. Hi, how was everyone today?
Good to hear you.
You did something different this time, so I was like, oh, that was different. Okay. It's really good to be with you all again this month. I know that I spoke with you about the enhancements that we made via COVID last month, but I know that we have a larger audience, and I want to welcome everyone from other chapters that are joining us today as well. So I'll be briefer in letting you know about some of the changes or enhancements that we've made. Mr. Bradley kind of stole some of my thunder too. I was going to give you a tidbit about what my associates are hoping to bring to you for open season. So we are not allowed back in our offices. So we will be doing everything virtually. And we're currently in the planning stages of how to bring information to you virtually. It's going to probably be in a format like we are all on today. And then we're also trying to strategize how to reach out to our larger agencies where you have retired from to communicate things to them, because most of them are also working virtually or in limited spaces or in extra additional shifts. So it's going to be a very challenging year, but we are all working to make sure that we can bring you the most information possible. So let me share with you. Let me share my screen. All right. So just to highlight for you what has changed as far as the Blue Cross FEP program as a result of COVID. If you are not familiar with our website, I advise you to get really familiar with our website, which is fepblue.org. This is the homepage for our site. We have added a COVID link to our site. So if I were to click on the Learn More section here, it's going to take me directly to coronavirus updates. So anytime that we make any kind of change as far as COVID is concerned, it will be posted on this site. The benefit changes that we made as a result of COVID began in March. And those benefit changes were that no prior authorizations were required for diagnostic tests and covered services as it relates to COVID. So if you need to be tested for COVID, there should not be any out-of-pocket cost for you to have that test, regardless of how many times you have that test. So I know of an instance or two where someone did receive a claim or bill or as a result of that. Just allow that to process, and if it does not clear as no cost to you, then let me know. But they are working on those that did not get through the system effectively. There's no cost share for, as I said, for any diagnostic tests or treatment as it relates to COVID. If you need to get a prescription refilled, especially a 90-day maintenance medication, we are allowing early refills, so that should not hinder you from getting your medication. Also, it allows you to go less frequently to the pharmacy to get a prescription filled. If you're not using mail order, I encourage you to start utilizing mail order at this time. That's a great way not to have to go to the pharmacy to get your prescriptions filled. And then also, even when you're getting your prescriptions filled, even though not through us, some of the pharmacies are allotting for mail order services at no cost to you. So that's another thing that you can take advantage of during this time. The other thing that's a big increase as a benefit is telehealth. A lot of people that have not used telehealth are using telehealth. For you all, there was not a cost on the FEHB plan, on FEP Blue, but we made sure that there is no cost for telehealth benefits for anyone that is on our plans for the rest of this year. So that is a benefit that will remain intact until the end of this year. And they'll reevaluate that in January once we see what the COVID numbers look like. Okay. So the question I get most asked about is, what is telehealth? How do I use telehealth? How can I use telehealth? What's in it for me? So the first thing I said to do is make sure you get familiar with fepblue.org. The second thing I would advise you to do is register for telehealth. So how do you do that? You can go to our site here for telehealth, which is FEP Blue Get Care Telehealth. You can register by hitting the register button, which is here, or you can call Teladoc, which is our vendor for telehealth. So Teladoc, yes. The number for Teladoc is 855-636-1579. Teladoc is the only vendor that we are authorizing for the services that are covered for you at 100%. If you're getting telehealth services through another avenue, I cannot guarantee you that that's going to be covered by your plan at 100%. But Teladoc is our authorized vendor. So in order to register, it's going to ask you for some information. It's going to also probably ask you for your R number. So you'll need to complete that before you can make an appointment to be seen. What can somebody see you for through Teladoc? You know, if you're having sinus issues, slight cold or flu symptoms, sore throat, even your allergies. General health, anything somebody can visually see and that you can discuss like we're discussing now, you can be seen for through Teladoc. They also are able to service you for behavioral health. A lot of people are dealing with stress and anxiety right now. Depression, you're at home, you might be at home by yourself. There might not be anyone else around. You might not be having a lot of interaction with other people. A lot of people are having substance abuse issues during this time because they are confined to a certain number of people and spaces. So a range of things that they could help you with during this time. Dermatology is also an area that they can assist you with. So if you've got some type of skin rash, something that you want a dermatologist to evaluate, they can do that as well. And they also offer nutritional counseling services. So these are all services that can be handled through Teladoc. So if you want to make an appointment, you sign up for it on the app. Either you're going to use your phone or your computer, as you all are doing today, or your tablet to make an appointment. They will notify you of when your appointment time is, and then you will have a dialogue with the provider for your visit. And if they need to prescribe a medication for you, they will prescribe a medication, or if they need to do follow-up for you, they will do follow-up for you. But it's just as simple as, like we're meeting today, in order for you to schedule an appointment with a provider and then be seen by the provider and have a conversation and be seen. So I don't want to deter you all from going to the provider, an actual provider, if you need to. Provider offices are open. They are taking, very more extreme measures for visits. I have been to the doctor during all of this, so you will get your temperature taken before you enter the doctor's office. They will ask you a couple of questions before you go to the doctor's office. You will wear a mask for most of your visit unless they need to look into your eyes or your mouth or your nose. So we don't want to deter people from going to the provider, but if you don't need to go for something, then this is a great alternative for a more minor situation of care. Okay. The other thing that is new that I want to talk about is called My Strength. My Strength is a benefit available to you through Livongo. We talked about Livongo during open season because Livongo was our new provider or vendor for our diabetes management program. But we've partnered with them to offer a program called My Strength that offers you mental health and wellness as a result of COVID. Just trying to help individuals with other avenues to deal with stress and anxiety and depression and just, it sucks. We're all at home. We're not doing what we want to do. We're not meeting at Bullock's today. I mean, it's sad, right? So this is a program that's available to you at no cost. It's free to you for the rest of the year. If you'd like to register, registration is free. They're just going to ask you to register with your name, a username, and a password. And you can explore all the different meditation, stress relief sessions that they have available to you through Livongo. The other two things I'll mention to you is that vision care, if you need to get glasses or contact lenses during this time, we've added an additional benefit if you have our FEP Blue Vision plan that you can get glasses or lenses through eyeglasses.com and 1-800-CONTACTS. If you would like additional information on that, I'll be happy to send that to you. You just complete the registration form online, submit your prescription, and they will send the contacts to you or glasses directly to your home. The other thing that I'll mention is Blue 365. Blue 365 has been around for a while. A lot of people don't know about it or are not using it. It's kind of like our discount program. You sign up with your R number, your name, and your email, and you have access to discounts on almost everything: shoes, clothing, travel, hearing and vision discounts, food. So if you'd like to have food sent to your home, kind of like the HelloFresh, on Blue 365, it's Sunbasket. They send you meals where everything's in the box and you prepare the meal. So that's a good way to also control portion and nutrition. So you can just explore what's out there and of what is of interest to you through Blue 365. So that's the other thing that I'll let you know about that is new for you all, that they've opened that up. Okay. Anybody have any questions for me?
So are those meals covered by Medicare or anything? Do you know?
No, it's not covered by Medicare. So the way Blue 365, any of the discounts work, it just offers you a discount for being a Blue Cross member. So you're getting the deal. Let's see if I'm not logged in. If it'll let me click through. You're getting the deal at a reduced cost. So for Sunbasket, for example, it's 40% off plus an additional 10% off when you join. So usually with like a lot of some of these, like especially the meal plans, you get so many meals a week or a month for a certain dollar amount. Usually the first one is, extremely reduced, but you sign up for it and then you don't want it anymore. You disenroll from the program, so you're not charged the higher cost. But it's just a good way to test out different programs to see, which one might be best for you. And through Blue 365, you're getting our discount. So it's a negotiated discount that we've arranged with the different vendors. So even footwear, if you need a new pair of sneakers because you're doing a lot of walking, you can get a discount on those, and then it can be sent directly to your home. So if there's something you're looking for, if something you're in the market for, I know at our house everything seems to be falling apart because we're home and we're using it more. I've been doing a lot of cooking, so you know, a lot of different kitchen tools and things that I'm needing that I've worn out or I want something else. It's always a good place to look for something first before you just go to Walmart or Target to get it.
Thank you so much, Sonia, for coming back again this month and giving us this update again. There were some new things this month from last month, so thank you very much.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad I was able to share with you all.
Thank you very much.
So are you able to unshare your screen now,
I
Sonia?
just did that.
Okay, thank you. So we'll come back to Mary Vickers now to introduce our next speaker. If I can get here. There you are.
Yes. Well, I've got two more. I've got Jane Caldwell and, of course, our legislative officer, Nancy Mayer. So I don't know if there's a particular order that Carolyn would like me to go in.
I think Jane is next.
Okay. All right. Well, Jane Caldwell is with us today. She is a member of Chapter 566. She is a retired scientist with a broad scientific background in creating science, interpreting science, and in risk assessment. She did her doctoral and postdoctoral studies at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And she worked for 26 years at the United States Environmental Protection Agency and retired from that agency. She has been very helpful in sharing information about COVID-19, and she has agreed to come to us today to share more and give us an update. So it's my pleasure to introduce Jane Caldwell.
And Jane, if you would unmute yourself.
I
think you can actually, wonderful. Yes, we can hear you now. And also, let's see here, if I can.
Start the slideshow.
Can you actually, I'm gonna share the screen with you. Can you bring it up on your computer?
I have not successfully done that to this point. I was hoping that you could share with Peter and Peter could, or you could put it up there.
Okay. I believe I can do that. So let me see if I can. Let me find it on my computer. I have it.
Hear my dulcet tones instead of my bass.
Tom, I've got it up on my computer right now, but I've got to switch over the Windows. Hang on a second here. Okay.
I'm not gonna.
Tom, if you want to, you can. If you can make me the presenter, I've got it up, ready to go.
Okay. Let me see here.
Yeah.
All right.
About a 2-second delay. Okay.
I don't remember how this goes here.
I hand straight. Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw it's come up here to yes. Okay, hang on a second, Tom. Here we go. Let's see if I'm over here. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes.
You can? Okay.
Hang on a second. Let's see if I can make it the full screen here.
I see the agenda. I don't see Jane's presentation.
Hang on a second here. somehow I've got to switch. Okay. All right.
Don't worry, Jane, we're finding it.
Let's see.
We're all in this learning curve.
The times that I think I'd like to go back to GoToMeeting on this stuff. All
right, I'm going to find it here. Let's see. Okay, here it is. Here's the COVID-19 update. All right, can everyone see that?
Yay.
Can everybody see that?
I can.
Yes?
Well, you probably muted everybody else, but I can see it.
I can see it.
Okay. All right, so we're going to...
One with a presentation I did a couple of months ago. I talked about the science and progress and what COVID was, and I gave you a lot of material at the back for you could links and stuff where you could follow this, and I agreed to give a brief 10-minute update on my update today. So I closed this down Saturday night as far as the statistics and the science. So here we are. We flattened the curve. This is from the BBC. You can see what they have for the U.S., and everybody's using Johns Hopkins' data, is that March through June, we were flat in the number of daily cases. And then as people started going out and opening up, our cases have gone up. So we flattened it, but we didn't get rid of it. And the curve of death usually follows about 2 weeks the curve of getting it. So we've rolled back essentially 2 months worth of progress in the number of cases. We have fewer cases in New York, but now we have California, Texas, and Florida taking its place. So next slide. Europe locked down, took it seriously, wore masks. They were horrified by what was going on in Italy. And they were able to decrease their rolling average, and they are now opening up, but everybody is wearing masks and continuing to social distance, and they're able to try to get some schools back going. But you can see where the U.S., we are not where Europe is. We continue to have as Dr. Hove said from Yale, we have the response of a developing country rather than a developed one in how we've dealt with COVID. So what about North Carolina and Durham? The World Health Organization basically says we'd like to have you at 5% of, when we test, you need to be testing. We'd like you to be at 5% or lower for at least 14 days of when you're testing people, only 5% are positive. If the numbers are too high, you may not be testing enough. If they're too low, testing too much. North Carolina, as of July 19th, as a whole, had 6.6% positive test, which means we don't meet that criteria to open up. And as of July 25th, we were one of 18 states setting single-day case records over the past week. Who's dying in North Carolina? 57%, 75 and older, 21%, 65 to 74. So we still continues to be the older population at risk of dying, but it isn't the only population at risk of dying. Durham has a positive rate of 10%. We had 26% Black and 65% Hispanic in those numbers. But if you look at the latest Durham dashboard from Friday, the Hispanic percentage is going down. The white and Black percentage is going up. But the average age of who is getting this is 37, and the largest group is between 18 and 30 years of age. So it is the young people getting it and spreading it, and the number one way that people are passing it to each other is through family gatherings. This was true in Wuhan, which is why they were tearing families apart and putting them in COVID centers. And you see it on the news all the time now of somebody goes to a wedding, they go to a party, they go to some family event, and it turns into a super spreader event for the family. Next slide. Progress on therapeutics. Therapeutics are not vaccines. Therapeutics are, we're going to give you, you've gotten sick, we're going to give you a drug to try to save your life and make you feel better. Dexamethasone has been shown in studies to help prevent death in seriously ill, meaning if you're on a ventilator. So instead of 40% of you dying, roughly 30% of you dying. Remdesivir decreased hospitalizations by 4 days, but it's promising. They want to study it. They want to study it to see if it helps prevent, and they want to study it in combination with dexamethasone to see if this is a combination treatment that will help the seriously ill. Dr. Ho, who I was talking about, who got the Nobel Prize for AIDS research and has been working on looking at antibodies with friends from Colombia, has taken 19 patients, taken their most potent neutralizing virus antibodies and has isolated them. And 7 are quite potent, and he's trying to develop these into treatments. So rather than giving you plasma, I give you the antibody that's made from these patients that were very seriously ill, and they have made very potent antibodies to the thing, and to see if we can use that as a therapeutic if you get sick. So that's I'll get into a minute of why like some of the plasma hasn't worked out. There's a new study out last week that was on the BBC about an inhaled interferon beta therapy that was effective in a trial, very small number of people, only 100, but it had a large reduction in death. And so those are preliminary results. They haven't released their data so that scientists can actually examine their data. But if true, that would be a real game changer. There is some biological plausibility for that because they found like a family of four young men in Europe who got seriously ill. They were very young. They looked at their genetics and they found that they had a mutation in interferon and production. Interferon is the molecule that tells your body you're being attacked by a virus. You need to get on the ball and do something about it. And this virus seems to be affecting that response. Hydroxychloroquine fails again. There were 2 studies out last week. It fails as a prophylactic, which means it's not preventing you if you're exposed from getting it. And it fails as a treatment. It is not making you any better if you are hospitalized with it, and they've looked at a lot of patients with this. The president's son's Twitter account was suspended today for putting false information out about hydroxychloroquine and how wonderful it was, and Trump Twitter forwarded the same tweet this morning about how wonderful hydroxychloroquine is, which it's not. And the World Health Organization has basically taken hydroxychloroquine off its list of approved things to study for COVID because the data is so convincing that this does no good whatsoever. Work on things that may have promise. Plasma for recovered patients has not been shown to be effective. There was great hope for that. which is why Dr. Ho has been working on, when you get plasma from somebody, you don't know whether you have the right antibodies in that plasma, your antibodies may have gone down in the person donating, and it's just not been shown to be effective when it was studied further. So Dr. Ho is trying to find like the antibody that actually will do something, but you have to do the science, which I don't have it on the slide, but I read last week that the government had thrown $21 million toward a antacid study for COVID. The two scientists who brought this wonderful idea up from an anecdote aren't talking to each other. The study they're working on has gone nowhere. Evidently, Steve Mnuchin facilitated that money being thrown out there without scientific review, basically saying we can't wait for these stodgy scientists to do something on that. Progress on the science. Next slide. So after 100 days, we have a better understanding of how the virus affects the body. It attacks almost every organ in the body from nose to toes. You lose your sense of smell and taste. It affects you neurologically. You get clots. You get COVID toes with same thing as a vascular clot that's causing circulation problems. So it's a pan-organ attack. This is not the flu. Generally, the World Health Organization globally is leading the effort, minus the U.S. Other countries are funding WHO now. I mean, we're cooperating and we have scientists working together, but as far as the United States supporting the World Health Organization, it's not. Nearly 3,500 public health experts signed a letter defending Dr. Fauci amid White House attacks. I don't really need to say any more about that other than that is our hope of getting out of this, is to listen to the scientists and to work with that. 239 researchers sent a letter to the World Health Organization agreeing that it is an airborne disease. It is a problem in crowded indoor spaces with poor ventilation. And there have been comments, desperation, science slows hunt for the coronavirus drugs. Just, you know, throwing just about anything out there without, I mean, yes, we have to hurry, but you have to do it right. What questions are there for science and why do we care? Why do people respond so differently? What's the nature of immunity and how long does it last? Has the virus developed any worrying mutations? How well will a vaccine work? We don't, I'll talk about the vaccines in a minute, but how will it work and for whom? What's the origin of the virus? Why do we care? Well, most agree that it originated in bats, but there was an intermediary species or step to get it to humans. And the reason we care is we have a window now to figure out how this happened so that we can keep it from happening again, so that we can figure out how to avoid whatever got this going. So can you get it again? Yes, it's when they have looked at the antibodies, they disappear fairly quickly. Half-life is 73 days. But a drop of antibodies is perfectly normal after acute infection. It's, do your cells have memory? Your immune system has memory imprinted in there and circulating cells so that if you see it again, you can mount a defense. But this may be a reason the plasma is not working so well, because you don't, you know, if you get plasma from somebody, they may not have made much antibody in the first place, and by the time you get it, it's gone. Vaccines in clinical trial next. We have a bunch that you're hearing about. Moderna you're hearing about locally because they're recruiting locally for that. They had phase 1, 45 adults. They're doing 2 inoculations. They have seen an antibody response. They've seen a neutralization response, a T-cell response. But again, this is an mRNA vaccine. One hasn't really come to fruition yet. But one reason to push this one, if it works, is it may be fairly easy to make lots of vaccine, but you're going to have to do it twice. And if you sign up for a study, remember, you got a 50% chance of getting the placebo. And I think they're really recruiting for minorities and people more at risk and people who are considered essential workers that are out would be exposed. The Chinese vaccine, they just released their results. It's an adenovirus type 5 vectored COVID. They're in phase 2. They're using a single inoculation. They've got an antibody response and a neutralization response. They didn't report T cell. T cells are important here. The AstraZeneca one from the UK reported their results recently. Again, a vectored vaccine, 2 inoculations, they see antibodies, neutralization, and T cell. Johnson & Johnson's starting a clinical trial in September, but they can catch up. If it works, they can make millions of doses by January, they say. But as Dr. Fauci said, the vaccine will not be widely available until several months into next year. Just getting it made is not the same as getting it distributed. And it is going to be an ethical and logistical question of how to do that. And it's not going to work if people aren't going to roll up their sleeves and get the vaccine, or the vaccine's not available. And again, there's no guarantee it'll work, but that's where we are with that. A couple of months ago, we weren't at clinical trial yet, and so they're going. So what do we do in the meantime? Fauci, I don't see us eradicating the virus, but with good public health measures, we can control it, which is epidemiology 101. Wear a mask, socially distance, wash your hands, do not touch your nose with your hands, do not have super spreader events. Bars, indoor restaurants, churches, mega churches, 650 cases have been linked to 40 churches. Test. You've got to have testing. You can't have 8-hour lines for people to test. You have to have effective testing so that if you have an outbreak, you've got to identify it quickly, track and trace it, and contain it. There was a letter signed by a large number of physicians that basically said there's a national response needed, reset and control this virus. The piecemeal, this state and in this state, just ensures that it will be going from one place to another and just keep popping up. We don't have interstate travel restrictions. Some states are trying to have restrictions, but one state could have it under control and then somebody brings it in on an interstate highway. Why did we not have a bunch of super spreader events with the protests? I was worried about that. Well, a lot of them wore masks and they were outside. The events where you get it tend to be indoors, poor ventilation, and families going to that wedding or that birthday or that bar. The original CDC guidelines stated, what about schools? That schools should not reopen if the virus still requires mitigation in the community. And I told you the World Health Organization basically said you shouldn't have over 5% with the virus for more than 14 days. So last Friday, there was a report that the new school guidelines that just got released last week, the White House staff had written the preamble to and had sort of put CDC's name on it, encouraging schools to open. Yes, children are less likely to spread it, but children to 10 to 18 are just as likely adults to spread it. I know I've seen reports of 50% of the teachers are concerned about going back to school, and I've seen some states reporting that 1/5 of their teachers are quitting rather than go back and be exposed because they are in a high-risk group. So yes, Europe and some Asian communities were able to get kids back into school, but they were at a different place than we're at with where COVID is in our community. So there is good news. Science has been able to do in 6 months what usually takes 6 years to do. And the world is working on this. But you still have to do your part and not spread it in parties, bars, gyms, and whatnot, and take it seriously. That's what we all can do. And so that's COVID land.
Wow. Thank you, Jane. That was a great, great summary. And thank you for working over the weekend to make sure you had the absolute up-to-date information on this. It's changing daily. And so this was really so interesting, the information you presented. Thank you.
Well, it's hard not to be on COVID overload, and I had to hold my nose and really get into it and look at up-to-date science. What does the science say? Because it's changing so fast. And North Carolina and Durham, and it's on everybody's mind. What about the kids? Is it safe to go out? What can we do?
And also, it's very scary to see that statistic about the 18 to 30 age group in Durham that you presented. So anyway, I'm going to ask you to, I guess, stop sharing your screen. Oh, you've already. Oh, you didn't share your screen, so we're cool. But thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was great. I'm going to send this out to everybody that was on the call today, and I'm going to go back now to Mary Vickers.
Hey, Tom, can I ask Jane a question here? In your slide, you said it's 45 adults mRNA, and I didn't catch what the meaning of it was.
Messenger RNA. So rather than taking a weakened virus or a whole virus that has some of the protein in it, they've taken the messenger RNA that codes for the spike protein, and that's what they're using to make their vaccine out of. So the point is, like, different groups are doing different strategies to do vaccines. They're all not just doing the same thing. And so the Moderna one is a messenger RNA, a little piece of the virus's replication code, so that you make some spike protein, but you're not making the whole virus. And that your immune system recognizes it and goes like, ah.
Thank you very much.
That was a great presentation. You need to be on like Channel 11 News doing it. It's better than they do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back now to Mary Vickers and ask her to make a quick introduction for Nancy Mayer, who's our next speaker. And Nancy, you can unmute your own microphone.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Just wanted to say that our last but not least speaker is Nancy Mayer. Nancy is a practicing attorney whose specialty is elder care. She is a member of Chapter 566, and she is also the National Legislative Officer. And Nancy has two presentations today. One is the legislative report that she gives monthly, and the second one is a presentation about the November ballots. So I'll turn it over to Nancy now.
You all see it now?
Yeah, there it is. We got it.
Okay. Okay, now I'm going to do slideshow and be able to, sorry, it's so many stuff. I have it on slideshow from beginning. Okay.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job.
How to vote. Okay, Durham, NARFE. I actually practiced this last week. I did this presentation for some other people last week to see how it was going. Now, I actually was up to date as of this morning. I got emails this morning that I'm including in this information. Okay, Durham, NARFE, as you can see, everything's on the move. Okay, I'm giving it today. Voter registration. First, you have to check and make sure you're registered. Please, please register to vote. You can check on this site to see if you're registered to vote. Everyone's going to be getting this PowerPoint. There are hot links here, so you can click on this and check to make sure that you're registered to vote. It's the same email. It's the same site I've given you before every year to check if you're registered to vote. You can check for yourself or for somewhere else. Yes? Yes? Did you want to ask something? Okay, so check to make sure if you're registered. If you're not registered, go register. Ballot federal positions. President, this is what's on the ballot, guys. It's really long. President, Vice President, 1 U.S. Senator, the Tillis position, and all U.S. representatives are on the ballot. Ballot state positions, the governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, auditor, commissioners of agriculture, insurance, and labor, and the secretary of state. Our dear friend and person who's shown up many times is on the ballot. Please vote for Elaine Marshall. Okay. Wait, I shouldn't have said that. Never mind. Anyway, ballot state positions continue. Superintendent of Public Instruction, treasurer, a third of the North Carolina State Senate districts in Durham, District 20 and District 22 are both up for election. And all North Carolina House of Representatives are up for election. State judicial positions, a lot of people forget about these. Please don't. If you want to know who to vote, you want to give some ideas on who to vote for, I'll be happy to talk with you offline. Anyway, North Carolina Supreme Court, Davis, Newby, and our Chief Justice Beasley are all up for election. In the appeals court, Bryant, Dillon, and McGee are all up. So please, please do not leave until you're voted for everybody. Then we have the county positions, Durham County Board of Commissioners, Durham County Register of Deeds, Soil and Water Conservation Districts, School Board at-large, School Board Consolidated District A, and School Board Consolidated District B are all on the ballot. Do not leave until you get to the end of the ballot, guys. These down ballot issues will affect your life. Please, please vote on them. Finally, we have the judge positions locally. North Carolina District Court Judge, District 14, Reinhardt seat is up for grabs. And Reinhardt is still running, so if you still like her, you can vote for her again. NC Superior Court Judge, District 14A, the Hudson seat is open. If you like Judge Hudson, you can vote for her again. If not, you can vote for the other person. Okay. The schedule, absentee voting begins September 4th. Deadline for voter registration is 10/19. October 9th. October 9th is the deadline for voter registration. Do not wait for them, guys. Go in now and register. Do not wait till October to register. October 15th, one-stop early voting starts. October 27th, deadline for requesting absentee ballot. 10/31, Halloween, one-stop voting ends. I wonder if there's something about that being Halloween. And finally, November 3rd, the general election day. Please do not wait till the last minute to get to please do not register. Do not wait for the last minute for any of these other ones. These are the deadlines, but please do it early. You can do it early. You can't vote often, but you can vote early. Okay. Absentee voting request schedule. Any registered voter can request absentee now. No reason is needed. Information is on the website that's on that I'll be giving you. The actual form is the other link. You can do this now. I've already mailed mine in, and I've already gotten a card back saying they got it from me. On September 1st, you will be able to request on a website. I'll go over that a little later. And on 10/27, last day to request an absentee ballot. Please, one more time, do not wait till October 27th to do this. They can correct your request if you send it in early. And please, please, please send it in early. So if somehow you mess up the form, they can come back and get you and tell you how to send it in correctly. Durham County Register of Deeds is going to this much trouble. Please give them the time to do the work they want to do. Absentee ballot request process. Absentee ballots must be completed by the voter or a near relative of the voter. Once you get the form in, you can mail it, have the address here, you can drop it off in person, you can email the form to this email address, or you can fax the form to the number. So you have 4 ways you can deliver it. I mailed mine, but you can do it any of these other ways. Please do it early, and do it now. Okay, moving on. If the absentee ballot requests future mode, they're required by state law to have a website that you can request an absentee ballot on September 1st. They're required to have it, and this portal's supposed to allow electronic signatures, so you can do it all electronically. I wouldn't wait for this. First of all, it doesn't give them time to correct it, and second of all, I'm not sure how well this website's going to work. When there's so many other options to use, please use one of the other ones and do it now. Absentee ballots, when you vote, only one witness is required on the container envelope. Used to be required, you needed 2 disinterested parties. Now it can be anyone, it can be your spouse, it can be your brother. I don't think your dog counts, it has to be somebody over 18. Okay, witness must also print their name and address on the side of the envelope. Witness must be 18 or older and not a candidate or spouse of the candidate. That's the only restriction. Must be 18 and not a candidate or a spouse of a candidate. Return envelope will contain a unique barcode which you will be allowed to track on the return ballot. You can track the receipt on the NC lookup. If you remember the website I told you how to look up your voter registration, that's the same place you're supposed to be able to look up to see if they got your absentee ballot. Durham BOE will be I didn't spell this right. Anyway, Durham BOE will post an instructional video. So if you have any questions about how to do any of this stuff, you can watch the video, and I hope they spell better than I did the word instructional. Okay. Absentee ballot assistance. A multi-party assist team called a MAT may assist any voter. They can request the voter to request absentee ballots, to deliver the absentee ballot to the Board of Elections, to witness the absentee ballots. Previously, you could only do this in nursing homes, group homes, or hospitals, but now anyone can request it. But I was unable to find out how you request it. I just know the help's supposed to be available, and it's supposed to be a way that you can request it. Who pays for the new voting procedures? This is going to cost a lot of money. The CARES Act, remember the CARES Act is going to provide 90% of the money, and the state budget has already budgeted North Carolina's 10% share. So we don't have to worry about coming up with the money. The budget already contains it. Help America Vote Act also has additional federal funds that the state can ask for if they need it. If you decide to vote in person, poll workers need PPE. They also have PPE, cleaning supplies, and single-use pens. Yes, they're going to have thousands of pens for people to have. Cleaning occurs throughout the day, social distancing required, and new poll worker roles to enforce social distancing. So there'll be one extra poll worker at every location to make sure everybody's standing 6 feet apart on the line. Those lines are going to get really long, guys. Do not do this if you can at all avoid it. Vote early on absentee ballot, and either vote early or have absentee ballot and do it. The absentee ballot will be even better. The takeaway, I hope you get the point. This is a very important election from the top to the bottom of the ballot, and please, please register to vote, get your absentee ballot, and more importantly, vote. Are there any questions?
Nancy, what about, this is Pete Eckhoff. It seems like the presidential candidates may still be up in the air. Trump is not liked by the Republicans, and Biden has maybe some health issues. What's going to happen if both are not candidates for president?
They're both going to be there for now. If something else happens, they'll be getting a lot of information on the news on what to do then. Okay, right now we're assuming they're both going to be there. Even though Trump may not be liked by the Republicans, nobody's talking about taking him off the ballot.
Looks like she's got a question, but she's on mute right now.
Well, you can use your chat feature. You want to send a chat in?
Yeah. So Nancy, can you share your screen now?
Where to stop share? Yes, I'm right here.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I'm checking my chat to see what questions people might have. Jane, can somebody unmute Jane? She has a question.
I think Jane can unmute herself, but
Well, we're waiting for that to happen. I'm gonna be sending an updated set of slides for distribution.
All right, Jane.
At least with the word instructions spelled right. Anyway, Jane, what's your question?
Okay, I've had 2 questions. One was, I did send in my absentee ballot request, but I never got a confirmation. So can you provide information of how I can track and make sure they got it? Because I never got a confirmation from the mail.
Well, I got a card from the Board of Elections.
Well, what I got was
I wasn't confirming it. I got a card from them, but the timing is such that it seemed to be related to my sending in the absentee ballot.
What I got was my voter registration card.
Yeah, that's what you got. That's what they do. Okay.
Oh, okay, and my other question is, they had a thing on the news this week where they did 100 absentee ballots, and then they mailed it to a post office box to try to simulate what a mail-in ballot would be. And they then went to the post office box to pick up these absentee ballots, and they couldn't get them. They were in the back somewhere. They had to get somebody in charge to finally find them. And out of the 100, 97 were in a pile, and 3 never made it. So, is there some sort of, a way, as we mail these things into the Postal Service, is that being taken into account that the Postal Service may be late, or some of these things may go in a black hole?
Well, the black hole I can't answer. I do know, because it's going to be a lot harder to be counting these absentee ballots, that in Durham County, they're adding an extra 2 weeks onto the counting, which is why you should get your ballots in early. They're going to start 2 weeks earlier than usual to start counting them. So the idea of getting lost, but you can track your absentee ballot on your voter registration site to see what's happening there. So you know when it's been, because it has that unique barcode on it, you can find it out. If these things start going AWOL, I actually know people that could figure out what the hell's going on. So if we land up with these things not showing up, I can get back to you then. Right now, we're hoping the best in Durham County.
My final question is, when will the if you filled out a form already, like you have and I have, when will the absentee ballots show up? You said you gave us a date of when you can fill them out.
September 4th.
September 4th is when you should be expecting them about.
Okay.
But Nancy, you showed on your presentation a website you can go to check to see if your ballot was received.
Yes, I did. It's the same way you check for your voter registration. This is some of the last minute information I got from somebody over the weekend somebody had that kind of question, and that's the answer I got.
And so that is in your presentation, and I'll send that out to everybody on the meeting today.
Well, I will send you a revised one, Tom, that spells at least instruction better.
Okay.
A couple of other things that will be helpful.
That was a great presentation. Thank you for putting that together so much for us.
I mean, I've shared this with other people, and a lot of people are running it off and keeping it because it has a lot of information. Henry, you might want to share it with other people around the state. It won't be exactly the same information for other counties, but to be looking for it is really helpful, Henry. So I hope you share it with the rest of the state.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I'm going to go back now to Carolyn to continue
One question, Tom.
All right, go ahead.
Nancy, can I send this out to our local listserv?
Yes. When I have it revised, you have an earlier one. Please wait for the revised one. I'll send it to you, and I'll send it to Tom, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
All right. So, Carolyn, let's continue with our agenda here if you want.
Okay. I wanted to call on Nancy for her legislative report.
Okay. Can you make me big?
I am going to make you big, girl. Here you are.
I love being big. Okay. Guys, this is 11 pages. I'm not going to read it all, but I'm going to give you a summary, and you're going to be getting not hard copies, but you'll be getting an electronic copy with all the hot links on it. So you can look up the stories that you're most interested in and look and see and get the specifics. So the first thing is just a selection of some Supreme Court decisions. The first one is one that says that Trump could fire the consumer. He could fire the head of the Consumer Protection Agency, and that might be why there's been a spate of inspector generals getting fired, because he's been given a lot more control over firing people. The abortion rights one, they said the former decision was that they couldn't do it, and they said we're not going to change our mind a couple of years later. And so the decision that was going to limit abortions has got struck down by the Supreme Court. Little Sisters and Poor Saints case, it allows employers to opt out of Affordable Care Act mandating guaranteeing no-cost contraceptives. So it's letting people get out of the contraceptive one. Supreme Court says, and finally, well, Trump versus Manhattan says that it's like, did somebody mute them who's messing with something? I'm having trouble speaking over you. Okay. Trump, we do have access. The state of New York can go after Trump's tax records, but they have to make a better case than they have at the moment. Some people think this was a Trump win because nothing's going to be done before the election. So we will not be seeing his tax returns before the election. And finally, this is from, I used to do tribal law in North Carolina. Tribal law says that half of Oklahoma, the eastern part of Oklahoma, is actually tribal lands, and no one knows what that means. When that usually is made, it's going to be hard to sell houses in that part of the state. We'll see if that happens, but it's starting the process of making it hard for people to sell houses in the eastern part of Oklahoma. Bipartisan House members called for 3% pay raise. So people that are currently working for the federal government, they're asking for 3%. No one knows if they're going to get it. The fifth board chairman left June 30th, so if anybody has TSP, the day that the board is now different. If you want to know where your tax refund is, I have a website where you can figure out, there's a website called Where's My Refund? And you can check on it. I have the hot link here, and you can check that out. TSP adding more life cycle funds. Anybody on the call that has a TSP account, there's more funds for you to choose from, and that also has a hot link here. TSP participants can now submit withdrawal and loan forms online. Used to have to do this differently. Anybody who's a TSP participant, if you need to withdraw or loan, you can do it online. There's some costly misperceptions about TSP. Did you know you can still fund an IRA and a couple of other things? There's a hot link for that on here. It's a website that came in. Need to know your TSP options. IRS announces complete relief for 2020 required minimal distribution. Anybody had a minimal distribution, don't worry about it. Don't get it. Do what you want. There's more here. So you don't have to worry about this. It includes the thrift savings plan as well as your IRAs. So don't worry about doing any minimum distribution. It's not required. Lambda Legal wins class action fight on behalf of surviving same-sex spouses, denied equal access to survivors' benefits. This was last little bit of the gay marriage stuff, and they won the case that says surviving benefits go to anybody who got married because they used to not be able to get married. There's a hot link on that too, but it was one last little piece. It was the Supreme Court struck down all the remaining state bans on marriage, and away they go. So this is one last little piece. Anybody who's gay or lesbian, you got your rights. This is one more little piece you got. CMS clarifies medical coverage of COVID-19 testing in facilities, in nursing facilities, residents, and issues. This has to do with whether the Medicare is going to cover COVID-19 testing. Hot link here. Basically, it's going to be covered, but it tells you how to make sure you get it. 60-day limited period for FSA, FFEDS exchanges to existing elections. There's a new open selection period starting July 1st for 60 days where you can change your FSA plan. So anybody who has a FSA plan can change it in that period. That applies to current federal employees, not so much to retirees. CDC changes COVID-19 guidance on how long patients need to be isolated. You probably saw this. It's only 10 days from the time the Sure, turns out 10 days is long enough. You don't have to go 2 weeks, and it's really good. I have a hot link here about that. GAO, to improve CPI indexes used to calculate retirement. They're looking at improving them. You guys know I've mentioned this before, what index they use. They're looking at using a better index, maybe one related to the elderly. Hasn't happened yet, but they're looking at it. In the state, Dominion Energy drops plans for gas pipeline in Western Virginia and North Carolina. Yay, guys! This is something I've been involved in for a while. I did consult with the Sierra Club on it. They used my ideas, but it's all over, guys. As an environmental person who worked on this, I'm really glad. Cooper, North Carolina, schools still open with some classes and instruction, but state remains still in phase 2. Okay, the schools, you all know this is county by county. Durham is doing virtual, at least for a while. Wake, I think, is going to go virtual. I don't know if they've decided it as of now, but they're close. Orange County is virtual. Citing bad coronavirus trends, Cooper issues mask mandate. Now it's national. And Durham, we've been living with this for months. They just made it statewide. You must wear a mask when you're outside and can't socially distance. Gyms and the roller coaster, you probably heard about this. Gyms they couldn't open. Then they could open if they could prove that people had a medical need. So then gyms all open and said, if you sign on this sheet, we're going to assume you have a medical need. And not so quick, guys. The new executive order said it's a limited basis, and the gyms have to see your medical documentation that you need to go to the gym for medical reasons. They can't take your word on it like they used to. So it goes. If you want to go to the gym, you probably shouldn't be going now anyway. But anyway, they might be open, but they might not. But even if they're open, you have to show a medical need, which is a note from your doctor. I don't know how many doctors are going to be giving those notes, but if you get one, you can go. Okay, ACE still can't race. There was a judge that said, this is the speedway over in Alamance County. The judge said, can't race, can't be there, can't do anything. Governor Cooper opposed it. Governor Cooper was ready to put them in, well, they took him to court, and the judge said, no way. If you're heading to the Northeast, you might have to be quarantined. I have one of the hot links, but this is actually more up to date. I don't have the more up to date links. But basically, if we want to go anywhere, even like DC, we'd have to be quarantined for 2 weeks. Okay? So don't leave the state. It's not worth it. Okay. Senate approves wealthy Republican donor Art Pope for USC Board of Governors. You probably heard the headline. Governor Cooper signs Second Chance Act into law. This allows people with nonviolent criminal records to have misdemeanors and certain low-level felonies to be expunged. Great idea, good idea. People made mistakes when they're teenagers can now get it expunged and not hold it over their heads when they're trying to get future jobs. Also, emergency order protects voters and election workers in 2020. We have that. I have the link here. You can see it. A whole bunch of stuff. Mandates. Durham County is already out ahead of this. In the county, 7 testing sites are available in Duke and Durham County. Duke has 2, CBS has 3, Lincoln County, Lincoln Community Center. There's no need for a doctor's referral anymore, and I have a link for you to go find out which one's closest to you. Durham County COVID data reflections. Jane already went over all of this. Hispanics are going down. White and black people are going up. Age is what it is. It's moving around. Okay. And Durham Public Schools vote to move classes online. Durham Superintendent, this is not the right time for interscholastic competition, so they've canceled all the athletics too in Durham County. Pretty interesting, a lot of stuff there, a lot of links there. You can look at it all. I'll be sending a corrected copy when I send the PowerPoint of the voting to everyone, so you'll be able to use the hot links. Are there any questions? I know I didn't go into all the specifics, but there's a lot of information here, and you have the hot links to connect to when you get the document. But are there any questions you can't hold yourself on? I'll look in the chat. Anybody have anything in their chat they want to talk about?
That was fabulous, Nancy. Thank you so much.
And Henry, you might want to share this with people outside as well. There's a lot of information outside of Durham County. So
Thank you.
I guess
Thank you very, very
pass
much.
it on to you.
Thank you so much. And so, Carolyn, I'm going to throw it back to you, and we'll continue with our agenda. And
I wonder if Peter has any treasury report he wants to give us. Peter Eckhoff.
Hi. Yeah, we've got about an $1,800 working balance. The data we're getting from National is questionable. It's reasonable, but what's happening is that with the transition from the old accounting system to the new accounting system, they overpaid us on the dues that they sent to us based on what had been our previous numbers. And so they're clawing back some of that data that they paid to us in excess. I'm not sure how much they're doing it. There's no solid amount. And so we're just kind of playing it by ear. We've got enough cushion to do a lot of things, but that's the way things are. And so right now we're in good shape. We're watching it, and I don't want to really press National to reconcile everything. I think they've got their hands full with the transition and all the bugs we've been finding and everything else. And plus COVID on top of that, and working from home and security online and everything else. I think we'll just let it be, and we'll go along with whatever's going until we can really get a handle on what's going on. So anyway, we're in good shape. We've got money in the bank, and we're paying our bills.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that.
Good shape and money in the bank sounds right to me. Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome.
What's next?
David, how about any issues with the newsletter? Did you have any particular things you needed us to talk about with respect to the newsletter?
I don't know if they're still on or not. I don't see them.
I see them, but they're muted.
Oh.
Yeah.
There we go. No, nothing really. We'll do another one in a couple of months, and I've sent you all the information about email or mailing address updates. I think we're good. Thank you, everyone, for submitting items for the newsletter.
So did we already exceed the deadline or what?
The one that just went out was July to September.
Oh, so we're done with that one. But so
Yeah,
for
the
the
next one will be October to December, and I think the deadline would be what, mid-October or before?
Well,
mid-September.
Next one. Well, sometime in September.
Yeah.
all right, so we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
Thank you, David.
Now, I wanted to talk with you a little bit about Advocacy Month. August, as you know, is Grassroots Advocacy Month. I've had 2 or 3 go-to meetings with some of the congressional district liaisons and with Charlie Talley, who is the National Legislative Officer for the Federation. What we're planning to do this year is to try to set up virtual meetings with all of our congressmen, and we're working on that. We've asked them for dates, and I'm not sure quite how that's going to work. But if you look at your August NARFE magazine, I received mine yesterday, but it has a wonderful article about what we're going to be addressing. As you know, NARFE has an agenda which we try very, very hard to communicate with all our congressional representatives about. This year, we're going to be focusing on WEP, and we're going to be encouraging all of our congressional officers, legislative directors, and representatives to focus on working together to get WEP passed. And the other issue, main issue, is the bill which is a COLA for seniors. instead of using
Yeah,
the
my key.
Yes.
CWI, well, anyway.
Have you had enough of this?
Yes.
So have I.
What? Okay.
Sorry. Okay. Now, so the other top of the legislation is the support for more accurate COLAs for seniors, which have to do with the HR 1553, which is the Fair COLA for Seniors Act. So I welcome you to look at the NARFE magazine from for August, starting on page 36. There's a very good article telling you about what we wish to accomplish in Legislative Grassroots Month. I happen to be the Congressional District Liaison for the 1st Congressional District, and that is with Congressman Butterfield. I've already requested a date where we could do a virtual session with him. So those are the things you can write to your congressional leaders about, asking them to please support. The membership report, I don't have a lot of confidence in the numbers, but as Peter has already mentioned, there's problems with AMS. I received a long list of people who supposedly have dropped their dues. Some of them are current members. So what I'm working on is trying to get that all cleaned up. Some of them are mistakes. So if I contact you and say, why haven't you paid your dues? If you have, please present or let me know some kind of proof about whether or not you have paid your dues. They don't have everything posted at National yet, but we are starting to get some numbers. And according to their numbers, we have a total of 154 chapter members, and there are 96 members who are national only, who are in our region, which would make us have a total of 250. And I do believe that it's a little bit higher than that on the 154. I think it's at least 155 or 56 from what I'm being able to determine at this point. But I will be.
Carolyn, can I just say that as I talked to you the other day, you know, I experienced a problem where my credit card, of course, I had a breach on a previous one, and so they canceled me out of my membership because it wouldn't go through. I think you said you and Frank had a similar problem, and then they didn't send me an email and say that they couldn't process my credit card. I had to call them, and then the lady in membership said, oh, we've had big problems transferring from the old system to the new system. Let me get your. So I think we've got a lot of old system, new system problems going on here. So that they're working out.
I have about 40 to 50 members on my list, and I've been trying to gradually contact them. But the two that concerned me most were that two of our officers were not listed as members on our chapter.
Like me.
Pardon me?
I said like me.
Yeah, there was you and one other. We can't have you serving as officers if you're not members. So they need to get the data straight, you know. So I'm working on that with National to try to get the information up to date. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the Federation election. You probably have seen all the data, but our officers were Henry Bratley, who is our Federation president. Charles Talley is the Federation vice president. Sam Crane is the Federation treasurer, and he was the incumbent. And David Phillips is the secretary. He has been the secretary for a couple of years. Most of the bylaws changes were accepted and adopted. And so that's all over. I have numbers about how many ballots they sent out and how many were actually returned, but I won't bother you with that. It was a low number compared to the members, but anyway. And then in your August NARFE magazine, you will also see your ballot for voting for the national officers. You have the choice of going online and voting online, or in your NARFE magazine, you have a paper ballot. You don't need to do both, but you need to do one. And for either one, you have to have the special PIN number that they gave you on top of the hard ballot in our NARFE magazine of August. You also have seen who's running for election. Some of them have sent out emails this week. We have Ken Thomas, who's running unopposed as the president. And we have the current incumbent plus one other person, and you can read their bios in your March, I think in your March NARFE magazine. Important thing is to please vote. We do have for Region 10, which we are part of. Region 10, we have our current Region 10 president, Bill Shackelford, and we have a former vice president of the North Carolina Federation, Robert Allen, who's also running. And for ethical reasons, I won't say who I think you should vote for, but you read the mail and you decide and look at their websites. They're all listed. And I think we received this week bios and information from both of those candidates. So just be sure to vote. And I believe the deadline is August 31st. But as Nancy said, don't wait until the 31st. Go ahead and get your ballots in. They went live online on July the 20th. So you can do it now without any difficulty. And Tom, did you have something you wanted to say about the NARFE PAC report?
The only thing to say about the NARFE PAC report is that from the last report, we're showing 2 less sustainers than we had previously. We were the state's #1 NARFE PAC sustainers with 5. Now the last report shows that we have 3. And I think that probably part of that is this credit card problem with national, with people who've had breached credit cards that they couldn't process. So I talked with Ross Apter, who is the NARFE PAC director, and he's gonna get back with me and tell me which credit cards and which people they're having problems with. But I wanted to encourage all of our
Frank and I both had problems. Our credit cards were compromised, and he called me to tell me or sent me an email. So we may be.
And also, I was one of those people too. So I just wanted to encourage any people in Chapter 566, if you want to be a sustainer, again, it's as little as $10 a month on your credit card, which is $120 a year, which is less than going to Starbucks once a month. You can be a sustainer, and it will help so much in keeping our health benefits low and keeping our COLAs on track. Those people are doing the jobs that we can't do in Washington. So thank you for your support, and thank you for making us #1 in North Carolina. That's all. Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you, Tom. I wanted to end the reports and just mention 2 people that you all know, and I know that you might want to send them cards or something. Beulah Latta was 99 on July the 4th of this year. Helen Hilderman, are you still with us, Helen?
Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday. Helen,
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday!
Thank
Helen
you.
will be 97 on the 31st of July.
A major accomplishment.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So if you feel like giving them a call or sending them note. I bet they would like that. Do you have any big plans, Helen?
No plans. I'm a prisoner here.
Right, you all are in lockdown still. Yeah. Well, we wish you the best.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
The best. And now.
And also, you know, if folks, you know, tell folks who are still on the call, you know, if you don't know what Helen Hilderman's mailing address is, it is Helen Hilderman, 2600 Crowsdale Farm Parkway, A244, The Homestead, Durham, North Carolina, 27705. Again, that is, I'll just repeat that to you, is
2600 Crowsdale Farm Parkway, A244, The Homestead, Durham, North Carolina. Right?
27705. That's correct.
Right. And Beulah's is Crowsdale Farm Parkway, 2600, apartment 307, and Durham, North Carolina, 27705.
And we miss you, Helen, and giving you our Alzheimer's money in order to win the Kit Kat.
Yes, we've got to do something about that.
And congratulations, Helen. We did win again for the Federation this year.
Well, I wish some of those other chapters would pay out and beat us. Alzheimer's needs the money.
Right. Well, we did win for the Federation this year, and I do have the certificate. We haven't been together and I haven't presented it, but we have it.
Well, good. That's excellent.
Thank you so much for all that you do to support.
Well, we're about to start another campaign for mailing our checks in, so I hope everybody's ready to pay up.
Well, and we might mention in the letter that we've missed the monthly donations. I don't know if that would be appropriate or not.
Well, maybe we could just mail them in to to Helen, and then she can turn them in.
Right, but we're going to be sending out a letter to everybody with the campaign, and I don't know if you want to mention that we have not gotten the monthly contributions that we usually do in our raffle. But anyway, you might want to keep that in mind. But right, we can send the money.
And we'll just have to double and triple up on the ones we missed.
Okay. All right.
Well,
now go ahead, Helen.
We'll do our best, all of us. We have in the past, and I feel sure, do our best this year.
Thank you for all the work you put into it, Helen.
Thank you for being at the helm of our ship, Helen.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to do it. It's a worthwhile cause.
It certainly is.
Mary, I don't know if Sherry is here or not, but do you have any programs planned for us, Mary?
Well, in the month of August, the presidents, Tom and you, have agreed to get a speaker, and normally we try to get someone who is a legislator. So I don't know if you all have made contact, but I have not done anything with August because we gave that month to you and Tom.
Right. Well, I've been in touch with Butterfield, and I'm trying to get some feedback from him. I haven't gotten any yet, except that they will allow him to do a virtual speech to us sometime in August, but I don't have a specific.
I'm also asking Craig to participate with us virtually if he can. Craig Meyer. Because he represents both Durham and Orange County. So we'll see if he can be on with us. And I haven't heard from him yet.
We can also invite Congressman Price because he represents quite a number of people in our state. But Charles, Callie, and I will be working some more on that as we go along. So anyway, now I would like to just open the floor to anyone who has comments or suggestions or questions before we close the meeting. Is there anyone out there who would like to speak or report anything to us?
We still have 14 people online. At one time today, we had as many as 27 or 28 participants, which I thought was magnificent.
Great. That's almost as many as we have at a regular face-to-face meeting. Yeah.
Right, with barbecue and fried chicken.
I just do not know when we can have another face-to-face meeting. Right now, it's very much up in the air. This may be our new normal for a while, so we'll have to figure out things that are of interest to everyone. Of course,
well, I wish y'all could all come over to my house. I'd make you a tomato sandwich and or a pimento cheese.
We may be there.
Yeah, if grocery prices keep going up, we may need to be. Seems like every time I go, it's another $100 a month or so. But anyway, so we want to thank everyone who did participate today. I especially thank Henry for coming up and joining us from Chapel Hill. We wish you a great tenure as our president of the Federation. I know that you will be a very good leader for us. We all look forward to working with you and supporting you in this adventure.
Congratulations, Henry. We're so proud of you, and we expect to get a lot of kickback money from you.
Okay, thank you. It was a great meeting. I enjoyed it, and all of your presenters did great. And I encourage you to continue because we need to get the information out and keep everyone advised. Thank you.
Yeah.
With that, unless someone else needs to talk about something, I think we can adjourn. Anybody else?
I make a motion that we adjourn today's meeting.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you.
Be safe, and don't forget to vote. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Next month. Bye, everyone.